How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing outstanding, David. Thank you for asking.
Steve, tell us a little bit about our guest.
So today we have Mr. Ray Venturino, and he is the director of business development, but also does a lot of fire consulting, fire protection consulting to be more specific. Ray, thanks for being on the show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, what's up, guys? I've been with City Fire for almost 12 years. I've done a lot of other jobs before this, but this is really the one that's stuck the best. So happy to be here, happy to be with City Fire and also help everybody with their fire equipment. That's really what I'm here to do.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your expertise. Like you just mentioned, you came from a different industry before. How does one get into the fire suppression business? What drove you into this industry?
Well, for me personally, it was really just dumb luck. I answered an ad and they called me back and I said, they answered an ad about being a fire extinguisher salesman. I said, I did. I don't remember anything about that, but go ahead, give me a shot and tell me what I applied for. So it was really dumb luck, basically. Probably one of the best things to ever happen to me. And like I said, just to get into this industry, I'm very lucky. I feel very blessed to be in the industry. But I did have a construction background. So that really does help when you're talking about like sprinkler pipes is just like plumbing. Alarm systems is just like electrical. So I did have a background. I knew how to estimate jobs and how long things would take to do. So as far as the construction side of our business, it really did help.
I mean, I guess for most people, those pipes are hidden in the walls. The alarm systems are hidden in the walls, so it's not in the forefront of your brain. And fire suppression systems and alarm systems, they save lives, but they can also cause some issues. So for our managers out there watching, what are some of the things, some of the pitfalls, some of the issues that you guys have with those systems? What are some things to watch out for?
Well, obviously right now, frozen pipes, we just spent 2 weeks doing emergency repairs nonstop, 24 hours a day with that below freezing temperature. So that's really the thing everyone should really worry about is frozen pipes, broken pipes, wear and tear. Like if you see corrosion and rot happening in certain areas.
How about in the summer? Are any particular issues for the rest of the year when it comes to fire suppression systems?
Well, like I said, you want to maintain them, make sure that you have all your inspections done. And if we find anything that's wrong, fix it. You know what I mean? Don't go to the board for 6 or 7 weeks and say, okay, maybe we'll fix this, maybe we won't. Let's get it fixed right away so you don't have those emergencies and those problems. The unexpected problems are much worse than the prepared problems,
Yeah. Word to the wise. Fix your sprinkler system. It's important.
Yes, it's the law. It's code. You have to do it.
True, that too. Now, as far as that's concerned, what's the most complicated thing in dealing with the fire suppression system?
I think the most complicated thing would be the fire pumps and the controllers. Some buildings have them, some buildings don't. You could have $100,000 repair if your fire pump goes bad. So anybody that has a high rise or anybody that has a mid rise, yeah, it's no joke.
You talk about the pump, and recently I was in a building and somebody talked to me about a type of pump. I had no idea what it means, what it was. I had to look it up. But can you tell us about the jockey pump? Has nothing to do with horse racing, right?
No, I thought it did too when I first started in the business. But a jockey pump, what it does is it helps the fire pump keep water in the system so the fire pump doesn't activate. What the jockey pump does, it pushes a little bit of water through so that the fire pump does not engage. And that's very important because you don't want an engaged fire pump in a closed system because you'll build up pressures that you can't even imagine how much pressure you can build up with a fire pump where the water has nowhere to go if there's not an exposed sprinkler head. Yeah, so you'll really damage your system, yes. So that's what the jockey pump does, basically.
All right, so I got a question. We come across a lot of aging communities, a lot of aging buildings, a lot of aging structures. Typically, how long does a fire suppression system last?
Well, the sprinkler systems, like a wet system, a regular wet system, those could last up to about 50 years. Oh, wow. So you do have a lifespan on those. It's definitely the easiest system to maintain and the one that's going to last the longest. Dry systems are completely different. There's a lot of corrosion that happens in the dry system pipes. So those pipes, maybe you get like 20, 30 years out of them. Okay. It also depends on the conditions. If you have a lot of hot, cold, a lot of condensation, you're going to get a lot more corrosion and a lot more damage to the pipes.
So are all the pipes in either kind of system, are all the pipes metal or are there composite pipes too? What are we looking at?
So for commercial buildings, you have to use all metal pipe. That's the code, that's the law, that's the standard for the NFPA. In residential, so a lot of condos and a lot of apartment buildings, what we'll find is we'll have CPVC. CPVC is just like PVC, but it's orange and it's made specifically for the sprinkler systems. They're very temperamental, a lot more breaks, a lot more sprinkler heads leaking. The expansion and contraction is much more it happens a lot easier in plastic pipe. So a lot of the condos out there, you're going to have plastic pipe in the walls. Yep.
All
So
right.
I guess it's not the preferred method to have a plastic pipe for your sprinkler system. So what's the fix there? Are people replacing them, or what's happening?
The reason why it was used in the 90s, they started using it was because of the cost. So it was a lot cheaper to use. They let it go in residential spaces because the goal for safety is to get people out. So these systems only have to last a certain amount of time to get everybody out. In commercial application, commercial buildings, you want to save the building. So there's much more water going into the building and much more water going into the system. And the residential pipes are, like I said, a little bit different. That's why they use plastic.
So you spoke a little bit about code there. Now, I'm completely unfamiliar, and probably a lot of our viewers are as well. But I do hear that cities are passing regulations to mandate fire suppression systems to be retrofitted on some of the older stuff out there. Does City Fire do that kind of work?
We have done that kind of work in the past, and there's been some codes out there for a while where they've taken systems off the standpipes, the existing standpipes of the building, run them through the hallways and then into the apartments or into the condos.
Okay.
That's been around for a while, but I think we're talking about it's getting more and more play right now as far as retrofitting existing buildings that do not have sprinklers to be retrofitted off the standpipes to have coverage.
Gotcha.
How expensive is that?
Depending on the size of the building, I'd say maybe like $20,000 a floor. You have a 30, 40, 60-story building, it's going to be very expensive. It also depends if they want the entire apartment done or if they just want a sprinkler head coming into where the doorway is so you can get out. So it all depends on which way they want it. A lot of times you got to go through the hallways and put soffits in. That's the normal. That's what we've seen in the past, is that you used to put soffits around the sprinkler pipes.
I honestly thought it was going to be more money than that.
No, it all depends on the size and depends on what's going on. But we can give you an estimate for anything you want.
Yeah.
So what's new out there technology-wise? Anything new and exciting as far as like a fire suppression system of the future coming up?
Well, really what I think the most important thing is the nitrogen systems on the dry systems. That's really what everybody should be looking at. A lot of our customers, a lot of our high-rise and condo people have dry sprinklers in their garages. And this is the worst place to have a dry system. The corrosion just mounts up and really kills the lifespan of the system. The nitrogen system will take all the oxygen out of the pipes, so that really stops the corrosion right in its tracks. That is one of the most important things, I think, the technology that's really helping people save money in the long run. It costs a little bit up front, but if you're a long-term condo owner or an investor, you will benefit in the long run from the less corrosion in the pipes.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, there's a lot of new construction out there. In some urban areas, as much as 50% is condos or some sort of multifamily stuff. That's really useful. So I want to thank you for all the technical information, but we also were very interested to hear from you. We want to give you an opportunity to thank somebody for getting you involved, or somebody that's advanced your business. A shout out for somebody. How about a plug?
Well, the first person I think of is Paul McGrath, the president of City Fire. He took me under his wing, taught me everything I know about this industry and how to handle people. We want to really do what's best for the customer at all times. And like I said, that's why I call myself a consultant, because you really just want to consult, give them the facts and the options, and then let them decide what's best for them. But you want to do everything above board and be transparent about everything that you do. So Paul McGrath has been a mentor to me. He's been actually great for the industry. He belongs to the Sprinkler Association, the Alarm Association. We do educational programs for fire inspectors, which a lot of people don't know. We spend a lot of money to educate these guys, to get them CEUs so that they do their job and we do our job in conjunction with them. So he's really advanced this industry a lot that people don't know behind the scenes. You see him at the events. He's the guy with the red jacket, and he's the pillar of our company. But really, on the back end, he does a lot of work to help this industry.
Well, that is definitely a nice shout out. Thank you very much. A little clap of the hands here. All right. Well, thank you very much, Ray. We appreciate you joining us today for this episode of Community Association Car Chat. In the meantime, Steve, I hope you have a good rest of your week. Ray, same to you and to our viewers. We'll see you next week for the next installment of Community Association
Thank you, guys.
Car Chat with David and Steve. See you, everyone.
Bye,
I really
buddy.
appreciate it.